Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back. We've got another exit interview. Such an exciting episode number 9 from Survivor 46. And we're going to be talking with the person that got voted out in a big blindsided tribal council worthy of all the popcorn. Hunter McKnight is going to join me for this week's exit interview. So lots of questions for Hunter. Looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Let's go ahead and bring in Hunter. Hey, Hunter, what's going on? Rob Cesternino, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's nice to have the Band-Aid ripped off. It's something I've been sitting on for like a year, and it's like, oh, the world's gonna see this. But it's nice to at least be freed from that.
Yeah. First, how are you doing after it looked like that this was a gut-wrenching experience for you going through that tribal council that we saw last night?
Yeah, that one was crazy. And the thing that I regret in that one is kind of checking out of the dialogue. Whenever the Tim vote was happening, I was kind of in the same situation. Do I play the idol? Do I not? I was in that tribal. Like I was zoned in like this. I'm gonna make sure that everyone knows that Tim is a better vote here. But that one I spent more time trying to read people than being in the dialogue and swaying things. And there's 100 different things I could have done. But in the end, I had the wrong read and it did not work out.
So the big question that everybody has for you today is, how did you make the decision to start telling people you had the idol right before that tribal council?
Yeah, and that's the thing that's been on debate for like on the internet more than I expected it to be because I knew that playing an idol would get me one more round, but I needed to start building like alliances. I had been trying to make alliances and they were actively being destroyed by people that I was actively making alliances with, like Q turning me against Tiffany, Liz turning against Tevin. Like these things kept happening with the people that I was accumulating to me, instantly turning on each other and trying to vote across in the same boat that we were in. And so whenever I knew that I was playing the idol, I said, it doesn't make sense for Charlie not to vote me out. Charlie's going to want to win immunities. I'm the biggest threat to that. And so they're going to want to vote me out. I said, I've got to not just play an idol because then I'm going to be here tomorrow, having played an idol with an even bigger threat on my back, not told anybody about this idol. And so I won't have any friends coming back. And so I've got to at least try to accumulate some trust here. So I went to Q, I went to Liz because they were on the bottom as well. Venus was on the bottom as well. It was obvious, even if they didn't realize it or not, they were on the bottom with me. And so I said, if I can get these four, there were three people, me being a fourth, to go 4-4 at 8, then we've got some power in this game. And so I've got to give a chance to build some trust, to tell people, because I was playing, there was no doubt I was playing it going in. You know, you're like, was there really no doubt? But going in, I was 100% playing it. So I said, I'm going to do this. And the read was correct. Liz and Q were outside of the vote. Liz and Q were outside the vote. And I said, if they go 4-2 on me and Q, and we do 3, we can get Ben out. And that'll work great. And I was like, I'm going to tell Venus too, because I've got to have 4 in the next vote. 3 is not going to be enough. And so I said, I'm going to extend this branch to Venus. And so then when we go into that tribal, I know Venus has told everybody. Also, another thing that wasn't really shown was that Kinsey came to me whenever the madness happened and told me, hey, look, Seagut, 3 Seagut's are writing your name down. They're talking about writing your name down. And that's when I said, look, and we can get more into my relationship with Kinsey before, or that wasn't shown after this, but she told me that. And I said, look, I'm so sorry that I may be blowing up this move that you're making against Tiffany, because still I wasn't sure because I was so in the dark with a lot of them. But she said, they're writing your name. I said, it's okay. I'm playing my idol. She's like, Hunter, just know, like they are writing your name down. And so I had this rapport with Kinsey. Like she's being very honest with me. Before I even told her I had the idol, she was like telling me they're writing her name down. So I said, okay, this connection with Kinsey, she had no reason to tell me that. She could have told me it's not me. So when I go into that tribal, I know Venus has told people. So Charlie's clever. He's going to split the votes. The question is, how is he going to split votes? Is he going to split 4-2 or is he going to split 3-3? And Venus knew the plan I was trying to make with Ben and with Q. And so she knew I had 3 votes that were going to go on somebody. And so the most like logical thing to do would be for them to split 3 on me, 3 on Q, re-vote, and they save Ben and vote Q out. And so the question became, as I'm listening to this tribal, because I'm asking different people, I know the Siga 3 are writing my name down. That's 100%. Charlie's looking at me and saying it's Q, but Charlie did the same thing and said it was Venus whenever Tevin got voted out. So I said, I can't trust Charlie in this moment. But I'm reading Kinsey, and Kinsey is, I'm confident she's voting with me. Venus, I'm confident she is voting Q. Like she's lied to me before. This is her being honest that she is writing Q. It was Tiffany was the question. And whenever we went into that tribal, I was playing my idol. It is what it is what it is. But whenever Tiffany went at Q in a very real way, and it went from them telling Jeff about how much they disliked each other to them just telling each other how much they disliked each other. I was like, okay, this isn't gameplay anymore. this is Q. Tiffany, with good reason, is mad at Q for what he's done because I've experienced that where Q blew up a lot of my game in the plan that I was trying to make by telling different people different things that weren't true. And so my gamble was, is Tiffany so mad at Q she's going to write his name down? If she does, it's going to be 3-3. And if Q throws a vote on me, I have me and Liz to make it 4-5, and that's going to keep me safe. And so I gambled on the wrong thing. It wasn't that I didn't know votes were coming my way. It was one person that I had to try to read, and I misread Tiffany, and she's the one that got me to be too comfortable. Plus, at that moment, Kinsey was telling me, "Look, you're good." I was like, "Man, 2 hours ago, you were like 100% honest with me in private, like willing to tell me what's going on and telling me to play my idol, but now you're changing it." And so it lulled into that false sense.
Thank you for all that. I'm going to double check and listen back to it again after to make sure I got everything, but thank you for putting it all out there. Okay. You mentioned about Kenzie being your number one. We didn't really get to see that. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. Okay. So going into merge, I realized instantly, Sega is super close. They're great at playing their, like holding their cards close to their chest. They're not going to reveal what their relationships are. And so this whole 6 with like the 2, 2, and 2, I was not going for it. I said, I want to go Yanu 3 and Nami 3. Me, Tevin, and Liz were very close. Like Liz struggled a lot with not eating, and me and Tevin would go out of our way to catch crab for her and bring it back to her and like really invested a lot of time in her. But her closest with us was tied a lot to an animosity towards Soda. And whenever Soda was gone, that was freed up. And so if I could have been there for that vote, I think I could have kept Liz closer to us by keeping Soda in. But I want to do 3-3. And so I went to Kinsey a while back and said, look, they're doing the 6 thing, but I don't want it to be that 6. I don't want to tell anybody, but I want to do 3-3. I'm telling Liz, like, you're working with us. You're in this. I'm telling Kinsey, you're in this. Q can keep doing whatever he wants to do. He can vote out Maria. He can do whatever. And so while we were at the Sega Beach voting out Tim, I spent a ton of time with Kinsey. We went to the flower field, and like those flowers they had in their hair, we were picking them, and I was like weaving them into crowns. We came back to Nami Beach. I had this secret tree that I loved that I called my room that had this really cool canopy where I hid all my idols and stuff, and I would show it to her. We'd spend a ton of time
all of your idols.
Shells. I made fake idols. I'm telling you, I was doing a lot. Yeah, I made fake idols. That's a different story. But I spent a lot of time working with Kinsey, and so that's when but what happened was after the Tim vote, Q came to me and told me Tiffany is trying to get you out because he didn't like the way that they were talking with Ben. They were kiki and talking blah, 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 blah. And that frustrated him that he couldn't play the game he wanted to play. And so he turned Tiffany or me against Tiffany. Whenever Maria's name got brought up by Tiffany, it was the most or we can vote Maria. You know, Maria's going to be a big threat in the end. She's telling her number one that maybe we have to vote out Maria eventually. And Q just goes absolutely crazy, goes and tells Maria, wants to vote out his number one, who has an idol, who has been with him from the beginning. And then whenever it gets out that it's not going to be Tiffany, he tries to damage control and comes and tells me that. He told me that because he didn't want me to write Tiffany, because then I would tell Tiffany that Q was the one who was pushing for him. So he's trying to protect his own game. But right after he told me that Tevin was going home, I got pulled to go on a walk. And Q ran to Tiffany and said, Hunter's been throwing your name out. Hunter told Maria that you were saying her name. Hunter told everybody about your idol. And so it burned Tiffany and Kinsey towards me. And so now Q is actively trying to destroy my game, not just my own social inadaptedness or whatever. It's destroying it. But now people I'm trying to work with are, and then you got Liz trying to attack Tevin. And so it's like, man, the people I thought I was working with the closest are actively like going at each other. It was a mess. So that I had spent a lot of time with Kinsey.
Okay. In the preseason, there was a lot of talk between you and Q about how you both had the Mississippi connection, and you both said, hey, the Mississippi, we take care of our own. We're not going to go against each other. Did that end up coming to bite you in any way of that?
It did. No. Yeah, I leaned way too far into that. I leaned into it. I was like, man, I feel like I can trust him. He's like from home. He gets this. He matches the kind of person that I need to have with me, someone who could be a challenge threat. That didn't turn out well, did it? He did not become a challenge threat.
Debatable.
Debatable. Big mistake. You want a challenge. But you know, and then I watched his back, and he's actively trying to get Charlie to throw it against me. I was like, man, where did I go wrong with the people I chose to work with? He's actively trying to get, and it's frustrating to me because you have this D1 SEC football player who is trying to get people to throw the challenge so the high school science teacher doesn't win. I'm like, man, if you want to beat me, just beat me. Like, don't. And then earlier he talks about how he's never going to throw challenges. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is this is a sinking ship. And so it was like I was trying to patch holes in a game that I wasn't even making the holes in my own social game. I was just trying to play damage control with Q. But it is what it is. And there's stuff I know that I should have done better.
Sure. Can we talk about your relationship with Venus? It seems like that you two never
Oh
really
yeah.
got on the same page. Could you talk a little bit about what it was like working with Venus?
Uh-huh. Okay, so Venus, like you'll notice, I never said anything bad about Venus in my confessionals. I didn't have anything against Venus. Venus had crafted this whole thing that I was like totally against her. The reason I wrote Venus's name down when Tevin was going home because I knew Venus had no alliances. Venus was actively against me a lot of times. People were frustrated with Venus for a lot of her gameplay, and so me putting votes on Venus would not frustrate anybody except for Venus. And Venus already didn't like me. Like Ari was not wanting to work with me. At Nami, we would do a lot of stuff together, but Brandon and Venus would be off by themselves a ton. And then Venus would come back and be like, "Hey Hunter, let's talk strategy right now." And I was in the mindset of it's terrible for me to throw out any names and say this is who should go home before we even have to go there, especially to someone who doesn't want to spend time with me. I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, we're thinking about voting out Soda because she seems like she might be a big threat or whatever." Because Venus now has ammunition that she can use when she hasn't really shown to like want to make a connection with me. And so when she says I stonewalled her, I told her, I said, "Look, Venus, I am happy to work with you when the time comes, but I don't want to put a lot out there right now." And so that to her was stonewalling. But everybody else, I was able to say the same thing to, and they took it as, "Oh, okay, that's fine." But Venus, and I think she took it as me not wanting to work with her. She was often telling me how she she talked so much about the pole challenge and how she was going to win. She told me she lasted longer than me on the balance beam. She told me that she would have beaten us in the Mergatory challenge if the boulder hadn't been there. She spent a lot of time thinking about how she was going to beat me in challenges that I didn't realize how much animosity she had towards trying to get me out. But
I want to go back to the live tribal, if we could. I know we're running short on time.
Oh my goodness, I hate that.
Okay. Did you consider ever playing your idol for Tevin when you found out that he was in trouble?
No, I did not. I had done a lot of work trying to get Maria and Charlie to switch back to Tevin. And they had said, "Look, we will switch back, but we're not going to tell Tevin." Obviously, the biggest bluff ever. But the reality was, me keeping Tevin in the game was not worth it, especially expending my idol, because he was a bigger threat to me and he'd beat me in the end. But I also knew this Tevin ship was sinking and I needed to work with Charlie and Maria. And I felt like offering my closest person and not even telling him would be the olive branch of like, "Look, I'm here to work with y'all. I'm here to play with y'all." Because like I mentioned before, Q was actively against me, had turned Tiffany and Kinsey against me. Liz was doing whatever. Liz would not communicate with me in terms of like, "Hey, let's think about how this would be good for our game." Venus actively didn't like me. So my only hope was now going from working with the Nami and the Yanu to trying to work with Siga. And so I was trying to foster a relationship of like, "Look, I get that y'all want Tevin out. And if that's what y'all want to do, I respect it. I don't think it's a good move. I think it's the worst move for us, especially for Maria and especially for Liz, who both Tevin trusted explicitly." And so I was trying to extend that olive branch so that maybe I could work them down the line because I had to find people that were not crazy that I could work with.
Okay. Andre, I have like a million more questions for you, but we're running out of time.
Call me sometime.
Real quick. What comes first, China or Fiji?
Oh dear. Wait, no. Fiji.
Okay, you got it. All right.
Yes.
What logo's on your shirt? What logo's on your shirt?
This is what I do with my kids.
I was gonna say so I don't recognize that one. Can't put it in order.
That's the problem. As I have, this is the most recent one, so this would be the last one. But this is what I do with my kids at French camp. We go out and we play the games. I don't build the challenges so I can practice them. I build it so they can play them, which is a different.
Yeah, would love to hear more about it sometime, but I know you got to run. Anyway, Hunter, this was really fun. Sorry to see you go, but
sorry to let you down. I was your winner pick.
My wife said I couldn't have you. I think it's a little bit of a debate. Okay. She was her winner pick. She said I wasn't allowed to have the same winner pick as you. So I think that maybe I'm clear, but we'll see.
Okay,
right.
Good.
I know you got to run. Thank you so much, Hunter. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. There's Hunter McKnight, and a lot of interesting stuff from Hunter. Still trying to process everything that he had to say about that tribal council. So looking forward to talking about that more with Stephen Fishbach on the Survivor Know-It-Alls. Love to hear what you have to say. I read all of the comments on our videos here on YouTube. So please let me know what you think. We appreciate it when you hit that like button. And of course, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our content around Survivor. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.